Today I'm in the editing den, and I'm going to give you guys a tour of the process I go through to take video files from the camera and turn them into a final edit for you guys to see. Come along on this adventure. The first step in my editing workflow is ingest. I have footage from a variety of devices and SD cards, and I need to get it onto reliable storage as quickly as possible. With the equipment I have, I really have four types of files. Footage from my Nikon camera is an H.264 format on SD cards. Audio from my DJI mic is uncompressed WAV internal to the device. Footage from my iPhone needs to be copied over the network from the phone and is an H.265, and screen capture is done in OBS Studio in H.264 on my local SSD. For the camera and mic, ingesting footage means plugging the card into my desktop and copying the files. Since the MOV and WAV files are directly compatible with Davinci Resolve, I copy these files straight into the working folder on my NAS. Since the iPhone video is H.265, which isn't compatible with the free version of Davinci Resolve, I have to convert it first. I haven't bought a license yet to the paid version of Davinci Resolve Studio, since I want to try out the Linux version before locking down a computer to a license. So I save the files onto my NAS from my phone, then I can transcode them using Handbrake down to H.264, and those files go in the project's working folder. At this point, all of my footage is relatively safe on my NAS, stored on a ZFS mirror. I still keep the original footage on the card for now, at least until the nightly backup job runs, and I'm pretty sure the footage is safe. This video is sponsored by FlexiSpot and their E8 oval-shaped standing desk. I've used standing desks for a few years now, ever since my company provided them to everyone in an office renovation. I'm more comfortable when I can change positions while working, so I'm happy to finally have one at home. The desk was pretty easy to assemble. Despite the thin oval legs, it's an absolute unit, so you'll probably want some help moving it around. It's rated to hold 275 pounds, and that's definitely sturdy enough to hold the full weight of my workstation and monitors without shaking. I also found it easy to attach accessories to the desk, from the optional cable tray to a power strip, so I can keep all of my cable clutter hidden out of sight. The control panel has 4 preset buttons to quickly save comfortable working heights. It also has a bonus USB-A port for charging, and fits right in with the Stream Deck I use to control the lights and OBS in my room. It's pretty quiet while moving, definitely not enough to impress my cat. As for my workstation itself, the editing beast is a first-gen AMD Ryzen Threadripper 1950X. It's great at rendering and transcoding as well as virtualization. I like to use an ultrawide as my main monitor, so I have a 29-inch 21:9 monitor paired with a 24-inch 16:9 side monitor. It's plenty of real estate for a video timeline or an immersive game. I have FlexiSpot's dual monitor arm supporting both monitors, and I'm happy with the look and feel of this setup. The desk itself is 63 inches by 31 inches, and with the monitors mounted on arms, I have plenty of space to set up projects for testing. The mounted power strip is also handy when I'm testing thin clients, Raspberry Pis, or whatever. This is a setup I use a lot when I capture the output with my HDMI capture dongle. I usually write scripts for my laptop, which can sit on the corner of the desk. For the workstation, I have a very clicky typing keyboard made by Unicop, paired with an ergonomic vertical mouse by Logitech. The whole environment is neatly tucked into a closet, with LED lighting that I've installed for both atmosphere and recording. These LED strips are controlled via Home Assistant from a Quinn LED board, and I can also control them from my Stream Deck. Since most of my videos are software tutorials, I tend to include a lot of screen capture segments. For these, I film up here at my desk, and the workflow is a little bit different from other video segments. For screen capture, I do a lot of work in OBS, Open Broadcaster software. During these sessions, I rely heavily on my Stream Deck to control OBS. I usually use my side monitor with display scaling set to 150% to better accommodate viewers at lower resolutions or on smaller screens. I overlay my face live in OBS, and I can turn that on and off with the Stream Deck as well. I use Edge as my web browser of choice during all of my tutorials, and I reset it back to defaults before each video. And of course, after each recording session, I copy the program output onto my NAS. At this point, all of my footage is on the working folder on the NAS. I imported into Davinci Resolve directly from the NAS, so I'm editing directly over the network and not copying files back and forth. Since I edit at 1080p with 1080p footage, I haven't found a need to transcode into a mezzanine codec such as ProRes or to generate proxies. In general, the ZFS ARC hit rate on my NAS is extremely high during editing sessions, so the speed of the spinning drives isn't a bottleneck. I'll probably reevaluate all of these choices if I upgrade to 4K, but for now I'm pretty happy with this setup. Despite this, time-lapse segments in particular do stutter in the preview window. Resolve makes it pretty easy to right-click on a clip and generate optimized media as needed, which is basically a proxy stored internal to Resolve. This does take quite a bit of space, with the time-lapse clips in this project taking over 12 gigs at half resolution. But it does make it way nicer to scrub through the timeline, especially in clips with speed changes. So maybe I'll reconsider my decision not to render proxies after all. I have a single project in Resolve for all of my videos, and I use bins for different categories and videos themselves. I haven't really seen a big reason to use a single project versus multiple projects, and I find it easier to have one project to be able to grab clips and bits from other videos. Experts will probably disagree in this choice. I'd love if you did that to boost engagement. Once I have all of the footage imported, I start by combining multiple clips of the same shot into a multicam clip. Most of my clips are actually multicam clips, since I have the audio track from the microphone separately as another camera angle. For some shots though, I can have as many as 3 real cameras. Resolve makes it very easy to sync all of these by audio automatically. And like magic, I have a multicam clip and can independently select the video and audio in each shot. Once I've synced all the multicams, I categorize the remaining clips into A-roll, B-roll, and screen cap. I also rename clips here in the editor based on what makes sense. This is all purely in Resolve. The original file names are still kept intact. Finally, I can start dropping stuff on the timeline. Usually I work from start to finish in a single editing session, going chapter by chapter, although sometimes I take a break in the middle if I feel I need to shoot more or do a follow-up. I definitely have a few videos that I've been sitting on half finished for months, so you might see those eventually. After editing is done, it's time to render out the final project. I start with the YouTube preset and tweak it a little. YouTube is going to end up transcoding from this to all of the resolutions on their own anyway, so I like to start with a reasonably high bitrate file for them to go down from. I save the file as an MP4 and click the button. Then I watch as my CPU goes to town and has fun rendering everything, waiting for it to finish so I can upload it to YouTube. Every time I render, I save the final file with a new name, with a major number and a minor letter. Every time I make a major change, I create a duplicate of the timeline and add a new major number to it, so V2, V3, etc. I don't want to pretend to be a Resolve expert, but it's certainly a tool that I enjoy using. It has a lot more features than I need, and I feel like I can really grow into it at this point. Anyway, thanks for coming along on a tour of my workflow. I'm sure FlexiSpot has a link or something down in the description for you. If you're an actual Resolve expert, feel free to tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Or you can message me directly on Discord. Link down in the description below. So thanks for coming, and as always, I'll see you on the next adventure.